Today is Tuesday, December 6th, and I'm here with Joyce Bachmann in her home, and Joyce has agreed to talk with us a little bit about her faith and her history in the church. And actually, Joyce, you have a long history in the church. You have roots that go back to the Lutheran church when you were young, and you have been at Emanuel for a long time. Well, for a number of years, I should say it that way. Tell us, Joyce, a little bit about your first church and a little bit about when you joined Emanuel and your history at Emanuel.
Well, I grew up in my church in South Dakota as a little girl. I was part of the cradle roll, and then by Sunday morning, Sunday school, I was confirmed in, we called it the Lutheran Church. We didn't say a lot of other names. And I still have friends that I stay in touch with from my confirmation class. The Reverend Bratley confirmed us, and we studied with him for 2 years before we were confirmed.
It was more strenuous confirmation.
Oh, it was something else. And for girls, it was easy. For the boys that had lived out in the country, they had other things, but we had good times. Then another thing that I belonged to as a young little girl was the LDR, which was Lutheran Daughters of the Reformation.
Oh, I hadn't heard of that.
I know. A lot of people say they never heard of that. Well, we had it, and there's the picture. And
that's wonderful.
Anyway, it stays in my heart always, that little town. And then we lived in Modesto, and we had a baby girl. And we asked the Reverend Carl Erickson if he would baptize her. And he said he would be happy to. So the first morning we ever went to Emanuel was the morning that Mary was baptized. My mother and brother were there also. And it started a friendship right away with people. There were 3 women's organizations at that time. Epsilon Delta, which was for the younger women. We had Ladies' Aid, and then we had Women's Missionary Society. And then through the years, that changed. It wasn't WELCA to begin with, it was just women groups, and we divided into circles at that time. I love WELCA. It is part of my life. I have stressed always that we keep that women's organization and the circles going. Emanuel means a great deal to me. Like all of us, there's been very happy times, there's been very sad times there, but boy, it has kept me.
And we persevere.
We do.
That's part of being Lutheran, isn't it?
We are strong.
Joyce, I want to ask you a little bit about this Lutheran Daughters of the Reformation, and what I want to ask you is, we are now entering the 500th anniversary of the Reformation. So talk a little bit about what that means to you, to be the 500th anniversary of Martin Luther nailing those 95 Theses to the church door.
Well, it means a great deal to me, and when I look at that picture of all of us young girls, and we were just little girls, I can't remember what we were taught in there, but I'm certain we were taught about Martin Luther. And yes, what a man. What a powerful man.
It sounds as though, Joyce, the church has been central to your life and your family's life. Is that right to say? Has that been kind of a cornerstone in your family?
It has been. It has been. As you can see in one of the questions I was asked in writing my book, what church I went to, I said, I am a Lutheran. I will always be a Lutheran. And it has been an anchor. It has been an anchor for me many, many times.
Is there something about the Lutheran church that keeps you there, or that is especially meaningful? What is it about Lutheran that is...
I love the liturgy of the Lutheran Church. I love the music, the choir, and let
me ask you, Joyce, because your life, your whole life has been in the church.
It has.
The church has changed a lot, and you started in the Midwest, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In the Midwest, as did I. And times have changed, churches have changed. What do you see happening in the church, and what's your feeling about that? The changes we see when you were little, and when I was little, everybody went to church on Sunday morning. It's what you did, especially in a little town.
Mm-hmm.
Life is not that way anymore
No.
for a lot of people.
No.
How do you see the church working in today's society, or how do you feel about that change of the church over time?
Well, I think there's been so many social things come into families' lives that have cut in to attending church on Sunday. There's soccer, there's baseball, softball, there's things. But, there is still the basis of people that attend our church. And as far as the change, yes, there have been changes, but I accept those changes and hope that they will help to bring more people into our church.
You have, in your life, as for most people, if they've lived any number of years, there have been some challenges, and there have been hard times. You've gone through some losses in your life.
Mm-hmm.
How has the church, your faith, helped you in those times?
Well, I suppose, Dick Welch died, who I was married to, died very, very suddenly. But the strength of the church kept me going. But probably the most tragic one was the loss of my daughter. And Pastor Bonnie was here then. Now, Mary had lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico for 25 years. And Pastor Bonnie said, yes, we will have a memorial service for Mary. She was baptized, she was confirmed, she was married in this church. Yes, we will do that. And the strength of the people around me, I had never heard of Mary that came to that service. There's still people in our church that did that, and I will never forget them. And but there have been many joys, too, for me. Many joys. And I appreciate both. I strive to keep both of them.
Let's talk about those joys just a little bit. And we don't have too much time left, Joyce, but let's talk about what some of your best memories are of Emanuel.
Well, I picked out one special one that was just awarded to me within the last year, which surprised me very, very much when Mike Epting made me the Servant of the Month, because I am so friendly. Yes, I am. That is one thing I can still do at Emanuel. I can be friendly to new people that come and the people that have been there for a long time. That is the one thing that I can do. My service in doing other things is just kind of past. But
well, I think you underestimate your importance. Just your presence in the church.
I love to be in that church.
It's very important, and it communicates something to all the people around you. So the church really has been a big part of making you who you are, hasn't it?
It has. Yes, it has.
Well, thank you, Joyce. I really appreciate your willingness to talk about your faith.
I hope that this sounds okay and that it'll be fine. And thank you for asking me to do it. I never would have offered.
Yeah, my pleasure.